Hello everyone, myself Swati. Today we are going to discuss about analog circuit. In that we have studied all the lectures related to PLL. Along with that PLL application, what is the meaning of that PLL and all these things we have studied earlier. But our today's lecture is related to PLL integer n frequency synthesizer with prescaler and its application. Now let us focus on that application and all these things related to that PLL. Now let us see about that PLL integer n frequency synthesizer with prescaler and its application. Integer n frequency synthesizer with prescaler. Just see here we have used the 4 modulus prescaler. In that 4 modulus prescaler to extend the upper frequency range of the frequency synthesizer but still allows the synthesis of a lower frequencies. The solution is the 4 modulus prescaler. The 4 modulus prescaler is a logical extension of the dual modulus prescaler. It offers the 4 different scaling factors and 2 control signals are required to select one of the 4 available scaling factors. Just see over here, divided by n1, divided by n2 and divided by n3. These are the prescaling factors which are used for the frequency divider, that is a prescaler differentiator, along with that which is connected to the low pass filter, and low pass filter output is connected over the voltage controlled oscillator. That n1 is multiplied by 100 n1 and n2 is multiplied by 10 and n3 is multiplied by 1 over here, along with that reference divider circuit. Just we have discussed in earlier stages. Here we have connected oscillator circuit for the reference divider frequency, and for that oscillator circuit we are providing that input for that oscillator circuit. It is as a f oscillator is equal to 10 megahertz frequency is connected for that oscillator, and here we are getting that voltage controlled oscillator frequency. That frequency is nothing but here we are getting that frequency is nothing but how much frequency here we are getting only that frequency is equal to f1. For this the integer n frequency synthesizer with the Pascal value count. Just see over here the n2 add 10, that is 0 0 1 1, n3 add n2 add 10, n3 add 1 divided by 1000, 100, 100, 110 and 111. That means 10101 101 is given over here. There are 3 programmable divided by n counter is the system, that is the n1, n2 and n3 dividers. The overall division ratio is given by NEFF is equal to 100 n1 plus 10 n2 plus n3, where n3 represents the units, n2 in the tens and n1 is the hundreds of the division ratio n total. For that n total, n2 and n3 ranges, that is a 0 as to 9, that is a 1 2 3 4 up to 9, and n1 is a greater than n2 and n3, because when the count of n1 becomes 0, all n1, n2 and n3 counters are related to their present values and the cycle is represented. Output divided by n2 and n3 counters are the high when the counter value is not equal to 0 and go low when the counter value is equal to 0. Note for this is for a reference frequency f1 is equal to 10 kilohertz, the lowest frequency to be synthesized is therefore 100 into f1 is equal to 1 megahertz. Example, we wish to generate the frequency that is 1023 times the reference frequency. The division ratio n total is thus 1023. Hence n1 is equal to 10, n2 is equal to 2 and n3 is equal to 3 are chosen. Both the outputs of the n2 and n3 counters are now high, a condition that causes the four models prescalars to divide initially 1 1 1 and FEF is equal to 2 1 1 0 plus 1 101 plus 700 is equal to 1023, like this. Here we are taking n1 value is a 10 9 8 7, like this descending order we have taken over here. N2 is a 1 2 and N3 is a 1 2 3, like this. We are relating the correlation in between these division values. Then next is related to frequency synthesizers and frequency divider. In that frequency synthesizer and frequency divider, we are getting over here a frequency synthesizers is a technique which is used for frequency dividers and are used to generate the multiple frequencies from an accurate reference frequency, usually a crystal oscillator. In this manner, the non-integer frequencies can be developed. For example, a system requires CPU clock that is a 1.6 gigahertz, memory clock is equal to 200 megahertz, and input output bus clock is equal to 400 megahertz. A crystal oscillator of 30 megahertz is used for FRS, determines the counter, that is a R divided by N divided by P and divided by Q, like this. The solution for this is choose R3 value is equal to 3, then PFD, that is a phase frequency divider synthesizer, is equal to 30 megahertz divided by 3 is equal to 3 megahertz, and N is equal to 160. For that, the oscillating frequency is equal to 160 into 10 megahertz CPU frequency, that is the oscillating frequency. Then P is equal to 4. The F oscillating is equal to 1.6 gigahertz divided by 4 is equal to 400 megahertz, that is the input output clock frequency is generated over here. Then Q is equal to 8, Q factor we have taken over here is 8, and oscillating frequency is equal to 1.6 gigahertz divided by 8 is equal to 200 megahertz. This is a memory output. For this, just seen over here, this is a reference frequency given as the input divided by R. Towards this, it is a 30 megahertz divided by R, that is the R value over here considered as a 3. That input is a given to 10 megahertz input, that is a PFD, and that PFD value is a given towards that low pass filter, and that low pass filter output is a given towards that voltage controlled oscillator. Along with that voltage controlled oscillator, here we have used that oscillating frequency. That oscillating frequency again towards as a input divided by N factor. Here we have taken divided by N factor is a 160. For that purpose, I have written here as a 160. Then voltage controlled oscillator output is a given towards that divided by 4 factor, that is a divided by P, and it is a 4, and divided by Q factor it is a divided by 8. Like this, P and Q will be generated F out 1 and F out 2, that is the output frequency 1 and output frequency 2. According to that, F out 1 is equal to F reference, that is the reference frequency, into N divided by R into P is equal to F out 2 is equal to reference frequency into N divided by R into Q. Like this, the frequency synthesizer or frequency divider value goes on changing. The next is related to clock data recovery. Different techniques of the data communication we have used over here. There are basically two types of data communication techniques, that is a serial data communication technique and another one is a parallel data communication technique. In that serial data communication technique, data bits are transmitted sequentially one by one. Just see here, first one by one data is transmitted towards that serial interface, and one by one data is transmitted out from that serial transmission throughout this circuit. And for the parallel data communication purpose, the data bits are driven on the multiple wires simultaneously. Along with, this is the transmitter sector, this is the receiver sector. It is a transmitter sector and it is a receiver section. In that, parallel transmission is done over here. In that parallel transmission, data is all the data are simultaneously not once all the data is transmitted and once all the data is received. But for the serial communication, data is transmitted sequentially. That's Q. In that Q, the traveling path length for the every bit is going to be different. Due to this, some bits can arrive early or before than other, which may corrupts the information. In that, the B factor is related to inter-symbol interference, that is a ISI, and a crosstalk. Due to several parallel links, that is a ISI, that is a inter-symbol interference, and the crosstalk effect is introduced in the system, which gets more survive as the length of a link is increased. So this limits the length of the connections. Then C factor is related to limitations of input output pin count. Then the parallel data communication requires a lot more input output pins than what is required by the serial data communication. This is related to clock data recovery cycle. The next is related to clock data recovery cycle. Along with this is a clock and a data recovery, that is a CDR, clock data recovery circuit. In short, it is represented as CDR, clock data recovery. The circuit is an essential block in a many high-speed wire linked data transmission applications such as a optical communication system, blackpen data link routing, and chip-to-chip interconnections. Sometimes the data is sent over the high-speed serial interfaces without any accompanying clock. The receiver needs to recover the clock in order to sample the data on a serial lines. The important role of the clock and a data recovery, that is the CDR, that is the clock data recovery, is to first is related to detect the transmission is the received data and generates a periodic recovery clock, that is a clock recovery circuit is provided by that clock data recovery circuit. Along with that, retain the recovered data which samples the noisy data and then regenerates it with less jitter and skew driven by the recovered clock, that is a data recovery factor. Along with this, a note related to that clock data recovery is a primary difference between CDR, that is a clock data recovery, and PLL, that is a phase locked loop, is that the incoming data is not periodic like the incoming reference clock of PLL. In that, here the phase detector input is along with that a charge pump. Whatever the output generated by that phase detector circuit is given towards that charge pump circuit, and charge pump circuit will be introduces whatever the output is given towards that loop filter, and that loop filter will be generate out the output towards that voltage controlled oscillator. And here we are getting that output from that voltage controlled oscillator which is related to that clock pulses, and retimed data is collected along with some noise, that is a period rate related to clock data recovery. For that purpose we need the data recovery circuit. Then clock recovery circuit, in that once the data is recovered we are using for this related to that clock recovery circuit. Then phase detector plays an important role related to that clock recovery circuit. Just see over here, phase detector, whatever the blocks are present over here related to that clock data recovery circuit, we are taking one by one as a description purpose or a example purpose. In that, phase detector generates an output signal is relation to the phase difference of the both, that is the input for the linear and non-linear circuit. For the linear circuit, it is a PLL can analyzed in a similar manners as the frequency synthesizers. For the non-linear purpose, the PLL operates as a back control system, hard to rigorously analyze in a many cases. Then charge pump. Charge pump is related to output pulse of the phase detector are converted to current. Then next is related to loop filter. In that loop filter, they integrates the output of the charge pump and produces the control voltage. Next is related to voltage controller oscillator, that is the VCO. In that VCO generates a periodic output whose frequency depends upon the control voltage. These are the 4 blocks are involved in that clock data recovery circuit. Along with this, just see retimed data is we are getting over here like clockwise structure over here, but previously we are receiving some noise in that filter. Just see over here. Then next is related to phase detector in a clock and data recovery circuit. In that, phase detector in a clock and data recovery circuit just shown over here. Just see Hoge phase detector, that is a linear phase detector which is called as a Hoge phase detector. In that, error output, ET, etc. consists of the 2 pulses and opposite polarity. That means there are 2 pulses are present along with that opposite polarity. In that, positive polarity pulses has an area that is proportional to the phase error between the data and the clock, and for the negative polarity pulses has a fixed area corresponding to half of the clock period. Then positive and negative polarity will be introduces that linear phase detector output. Overall area is a 0 when the data edge is aligned to following the clock edge. Then Hoge detector, which is called as a linear phase detector, just shown over here. Here B flip flop is used. This is a register and this is a latch which is connected over by using XOR gate, and addition of that B and C component be illuminated with the error output, that is a ET. This is all the structure related to Hoge detector. That Hoge detector will be generate out the step by step waveform just shown over here. The data T is given as an input over here. This circuit, this waveform is like this. Then clock signal is given as an input to second terminal, that is a positive clock pulses is given as an input. By using these two input, the A will be generated as an output like this. Just the waveform is shown over here. Retimed data just which is given over here, this is a like this. Then BT, that BT is generated by this XOR gate, and CT is generated by second XOR gate along with that latch and along with that resistor is shown over here. Then ET is the error output, that is the ET is shown over here along with the polarity of positive one polarity and negative one polarity. This is a waveform structure related to phase detector in a clock and a data recovery circuit. Then next is related to phase detector in a clock and a data recovery circuit is shown over here. Alexander phase detector, that is a back phase detector. In that the data is sampled at a 3 equidistinct point, that is a B, C. Here is a present, here is a B present, here is a C present. Then XOR gates combines the nodes, that is a ABC. ABC is shown again over here. Then X is equal to A XORing with B and Y is equal to B XORing with C, just shown over here. Just see here, X is A XORing with B. This is a XOR gate is present, and what are the input present over that X XOR gate output is A and B. For that purpose, here whatever the output is generated X equal to, it is A XORing with B, and whatever the output is generated over Y, it is a B XORing with C, because input is given for that Y, output is XOR gate is a from this point terminal B, and from this terminal it is a C. For that purpose, this equation is a look like this. Then performs an early late detection, that is a clock is a early, that is Y is equal to low and X is equal to high for the clock early condition, and for the clock late condition it is a totally reversed. For the clock late condition, Y is equal to high and X is equal to low. This clock early condition, the output is a look like this, and clock late condition, the output is a totally reverse like condition. No, there is no any kind of such a situation is a present. For the clock early and clock late position, some delay line is a present over there. That delay line is nothing but it will be introduces the gap in between clock and data condition, but that gap does not found in that data earlier condition. Along with that, the phase detector in a clock and data recovery circuit, just shown over here. What is the phasor diagram or Alexander phasor detector, that is the back phase detector diagram is shown over here. This is signal related to T1, T2, T3 in clock early position and in clock delay position. What is the structure related to data, clock, C, A, B, X and Y output we are getting over there in a clock early position and clock late position, just shown over here. For the clock early position, both X is a present but Y is a absent. But for the clock late position, X is a absent, that is a having a straight line, but Y is a present. There is a controversial difference in between clock early position and clock late position. And this is the circuit diagram related to output getting for the X factor and for the Y factor. Then this is the diagram related to clock data recovery circuit. In that clock jitter plays a very important role related to clock data recovery circuit. Jitter is a shift in the edges of the periodic signal. This breaks the periodicity of the signal, that is the AC jitter, the uncertainty of the output phasor, and for the DC it is a phase offset, undesired difference of the average output phase relative to the input phase. This is related to clock W output input jitter, and the clock W jitter is shown over here. This is the earlier transmission, this is the late transmission, and this is the ideal transmission. In that, a data bit should be sampled at the center. It is the optimum position where the maximum shift in the edges on either sides are present, from left to right or from right to left can be encountered. However, if the shift in an edge becomes greater than half of the bit period, then there will be a bit error is a produced. Along with this, the data jitter is a present over there. The jitter tolerance is defined as the amount of the jitter that the CDR circuit must tolerate on the input data without increasing the bit error rate, that is BER. If the jitter on the input data varies slowly, the recovered clock will be track the transmission in the data and always sample the data in the middle of the bit period as shown below. This will guarantee a low bit error rate, just shown over here. This is the data input, this is a clock input. If the jitter on the input data varies fast, the recovered clock will not be able to track the transmission in the data and will be fail to a simple sample the data in the middle of the bit period as shown in the figure. This will result in the greater bit error rate, just seen over here. This error introduced by this circuit and this circuit just comparatively shown over here. Just by seeing that comparison of both these inputs, we have get over here only the output signal frequency over there. Then this is the related to edge detection purpose, related to data recovery rate. In that, the CRC, that is cyclic redundancy code circuit, requires the ability to detect both the positive and negative transitions of the incoming data as illustrated below. This is a non-return zero data and this is the edge detection circuit. For the edge detection waveform, in everywhere the edge is a detected and edge is a present over here. This is the non-return zero pattern and this is the return zero pattern. Whenever the zero is a present over there, it is a return towards that zero factor. Methods for the edge detection we are using. First method is a XOR gate with a delay on one input, and second method is a differentiator followed by a full wave rectifier, which is shown over here. The D input is given to this, that is a d by dt is equal to output divided by input, and here we are getting the out voltage. For the XOR gate we are also providing here, that is a input data, and we are getting over here as it is as a output data. This is all over related to that edge detection circuit. Then differentiation CDR is also present over here. For the differentiation CDR, first we will apply that is a input data, then differential data is a like this, then full wave rectified data is, then a regulated data is a like this. The regulated data is similar to that, something similar to that of our digital data, but rest of all the data is occurring over here is having some error. This data is a differentiation CDR is used for the steps taken by the algorithm to obtain the recovered data. The first plot is the input data, the second is differentiated input data. We can see that the peaks occurs at the zeros crossing of the input data. The third plot is the full wave rectified differentiated data. This data is used to create a clock, which is then used to create the fourth plot, the regenerated data. This is all about the PLL. Since we have started the PLL in previous our 3-4 lectures, I hope all these things are covered over here. Okay, thank you.